Hello. In this clip from our Justia webinar, Google Search Console, the secret weapon you didn't know you had, Gustavo Montes, Director of SEO at Justia, discusses how Google Search Console ranks your website based on factors such as core web vitals and security. If you want to see more Justia videos on law practice and legal marketing, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
All right, now we can move on to the information of your website on Google. Okay, and I'm gonna start with the overview. Okay, this is the overview, and basically, right here, this is just a consolidated look at your site's metrics. And here you just want to pay attention to any drastic changes or negative trends. Keep an eye for indexing issues that you may have, or any issue with the schema. So again, this is just sort of this entry point where Google is showing you different things that it's sort of measuring for your website. All right, so this is the full view of the report. You can see everything that's listed. I know it's tiny, but I'll zoom into each of these. Okay, so the first one is the performance report. And this is just an overview of the number of clicks that your website got over a period of time. Okay, and each of these reports, you can actually open the report and go to the actual full report. This is just an overview. I'm not gonna do that here because I will get to those reports later in the webinar. But again, this is just the number of clicks for the website. The next one is the indexing report, and here you'll find the number of indexed pages on your website versus the not indexed pages. Right. So what's important is that everything's steady, that all of your pages are indexed. If you see sort of a sharp drop, that means that there's probably a technical problem that's preventing Google from indexing your pages. Also, you'll find, for example, in this on this page or this report, you'll see that the number of not indexed pages is higher than the indexed pages. But that doesn't mean that the actual pages on the website are not on Google, and I'll explain a bit more about that later. Okay, so the next one is the experience report, and here Google is going to show you a section for core web vitals. Core web vitals, and you'll see the mobile and the desktop, and it's going to show you the HTTPS report. And core web vitals is just sort of the metrics that Google uses to make sure that websites or the pages load fast and responsive. So on this one, just make sure everything is green. If you have a few URLs that maybe need improvement, not the end of the world. I'll get into that more in the particular report about core web vitals. And for HTTPS, same thing. It's just important that you have all of your pages and just serve all of your pages through a secure channel. So again, this is just a must-have for any website nowadays. Okay. And the last one is the enhancement reports. Here you'll find the AMP section. Again, if you are using AMP for your website, make sure everything is working fine. You have no errors. And then you will also see other sections for the different rich structured data, for the different schema markup elements that you have on your website. And for law firm website, you normally will see like breadcrumb schema, FAQs, reviews. These are common types of schema markup added to law firm websites. And again, just want to make sure everything is fine. If there's a problem, you can spot that here and talk to your website provider to get it fixed. Okay. Okay, so that's for the overview. Now I want to talk about the URL inspection tool. This is the second option here in the menu. And well, as its name implies, this is a tool basically to just analyze and inspect a particular page on your website, right? And you inspect a URL one at a time. So that's how this works. And basically, with this tool, you are able to get information about your page based on the last time Google crawled this page, right? Google will show you like if it found issues with it, if Google had problems indexing or reading the page, you'll find some of those issues using this particular tool. I'm going to give you some scenarios. For example, let's say that you have a page, the page was ranking fine on your website, and you made a change to the page, and then it just disappeared, and now it's nowhere to be found on Google. I'm not saying that it's on page 10. I'm saying it really isn't on Google anymore. And this is a tool that you can use to troubleshoot whether Google had problems reading the page. And that may happen. Maybe there was something, change the configuration of this particular page, and Google can no longer read the page or can no longer index the page. So this is a tool you'll use for that. All right, so the way that works, there is a text box at the top in Google search also. And basically there you're gonna type in the URL that you wanna inspect, click enter, and then you'll get the actual information of the page that Google has. And again, just to stress that part, this is based on the last time Google read this page, the last time Google crawled the page, which again could have been maybe a week ago, right? So Google is not indexing every day. So just something to keep in mind. All right, I'm going to expand this so you can see it better. Okay, right here. Okay. Of course, you want to make sure that if it's an important page that you want to have on Google, and you want this page to be ranking, everything should be green. I'm going to go through the different sections here. So the first one says view crawl page. This option is so that you can see the actual source code of this page when Google crawled it. If you click on it, what's going to happen is going to open this panel on the right side, and you'll see the actual source code, and you can inspect that part. Now, more important is this option. I think is one that you may use more often. This is an option to request indexing from Google, right? So basically, let's say that you have this one page, and you need to make an update because it has outdated information. So you can go to your website, update the page, and then come here and do request indexing so that Google reads the page sooner, right? It doesn't happen immediately, but it sort of gets added to this sort of priority queue for Google to get to the page sooner, right? This is something that, again, that really matters. All right, the next section is the page indexing. Again, this just make sure is green. This part in particular is important because if you have problems in page indexing, it means that most likely Google had issues reading the page, and maybe the page is not going to be on Google, and nobody's going to be finding that page when they search. So just make sure that is in the green. Google will show information on how we discovered this page, and it's going to tell you that that it was successful when reading and indexing the page. So things of that nature is what you see on this section. After that, you'll find at the bottom sort of experience and enhancement information, and here you'll find AMP. So if this page has AMP, you'll have this particular section. You have HTTPS, so meaning Google will tell you whether this particular page that you are reviewing, if it was served to Google through a secure channel, right? Which again is something very important for your website. And then after those two, you'll find information related to the schema markup that you have on that page. Like, this page has breadcrumbs. If it has reviews or any other type of schema, you'll find that here, and Google will tell you whether it had any issues or not reviewing it. Okay. All right. So one more option I want to show you is Google has this particular button that says test live URL. And this option basically just forces Google to read this specific URL that you're inspecting on that moment. Like on the moment that you click the button, Google goes to the page, it starts reading the page, and then it gives you this similar assessment and will tell you if there's a problem with the AMP, if there's a problem with the indexation, there's a problem with the schema. And one of the scenarios on how you could use this is that, but you are inspecting this page, and then as I said, the information, when you're inspecting, the information Google provides is from the last time that Google read the page, and maybe you found a problem in the schema, and Google had a cross and said, you know what, I had issues reading the breadcrumb schema, right? You talk to your website provider, they fix it, and they publish the page live. You can come here and do a test live URL just to test the fix that was just published. And if Google comes back and tells you that the breadcrumb schema is fine, it means that the fix is going to work. The fix is fine, and next time Google crawls the page, now this problem is going to go away. And from here, you can actually go and click on the request indexing option that I just mentioned to sort of ask Google to update the page again. Okay, so that's for the URL inspection. Okay, so now let's talk about the performance reports. I'm going to focus specifically on the search results. I think that's really the one that's most relevant for law firm websites. And okay, so here's the option. And basically here on this report, you can get insights to your website's traffic, the impressions. You'll find the different queries people use to find your website, information about the pages, the average position, meaning the ranking on Google. There's a lot of good information on this report. Okay, so I'm going to show you the different parts of this report. Here is sort of the different filters that you can find in this report. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, and the first one here is the search type, right here. So the search type, if you click on that, you'll find these are the different options. You have web, image, video. Here, focus on web. If you're going to be checking the performance of your website, focus on web, because that's really the one that's relevant to you. People is not going to do an image search on Google to find legal assistance. Okay, so web is the one you should focus on. And let's see. Okay, and now the next filter is the time frame. And basically here, you know, the default is 3 months, but you can see all of these different filters. And that will just update the graph and the values for that specific time frame. My recommendation is open it up to 16 months. Only because it provides additional context, right? I mean, traffic fluctuates all the time, and you know, it's very common that this 1 week was a slightly lower in traffic than the previous week, but that doesn't mean that there's a problem with the website. You may open it up to the last 16 months, and then you see the trend over time and realize, over time, the trend is positive. So it just gives you more information. And if you just want to look at, let's say, the last month or 3 months, even if you do these 16 months, you can still focus on that last part too. Okay. And there are some other filters here that I wanted to show you. So we have queries. You can filter by the queries people are using when they search on Google and your website comes up. You can filter for a specific page. For a specific country, like let's say that you do immigration and you have some traffic that's coming from different countries. Well, you can go to this particular setting or filter and say, you show me from USA or maybe for this other country where I get some clients from that place. You can also you can also filter by like the search appearance, which is how your website ranked on Google. Was it at the AMP page? Did it have like a rich snippet? So again, there are just different ways to filter this data. Okay. All right. So now I would like to go over the specific graphic and the actual information in the report. So there are different metrics. There are different metrics that you can go over here. So the first one that's right now that's enabled is clicks. And again, this is just the clicks, the clicks to your website, right? So, but you can go and enable some other, like you can say now, let me enable impressions. And then you click and then enable impressions. And now you have the impressions in the graph. And even in the table below, you can see on the right side, it added a new column with the information for impressions. Okay. You can do average click-through rate. You enable, and then you can see how it starts adding on top of the graphic and the table the different metrics, and average position too. So this is the average position in terms of rankings of your website as a whole. Now, the most important ones are like clicks and impressions. I think number one is clicks, because clicks is people actually clicking on your site and visiting your website. Okay, impressions means that somebody did a search on Google, your website came up, but that's it. It just came up, right? It doesn't mean that he clicked on it, right? So impression is just coming up on the results, which is why it's a much higher number. But for talking about like average position, like the average position for your website is not very useful, right? Because average position can fluctuate for a number of reasons. Like for example, maybe your website, you add new pages to your site. Those new pages start to rank for new keywords that for which you were not ranking before, because again, this is just a new set of pages that you added. But when you start ranking for new keywords, often you start ranking not very well. You're maybe ranking on page 3 or page 5. And because of that skews the average position for your entire website. Now, you are better off because you started to rank for new keywords that were not there. But because they're not ranking well yet, this average position, again, will will show that there was a decrease, right? So again, just something to keep in mind. And it's the same with the click-through rate. So again, it's impacted by like the average position too. And sometimes if it decreases, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad, right? It would be more meaningful if you say, I'm going to check the average position or click-through rate for this specific query. And then you can just say, I'm going to just check my information for this very specific query that Google is using or that users are using to find me. And that could be more meaningful for average position. All right. Okay, so again, focus on clicks and impressions, which I think that are the most important. Another thing that's really good about this report is you have these different tabs on the table, and you have the first one that's the queries, and this is just the queries that people are using when your website came up on Google, right? You see that here, and then you can get the number of clicks or impressions for each of these queries. Now, keep in mind, these queries are there because these queries are related to the content that you have on your website, right? If you have a criminal website, so chances are that your queries are going to have those words, like a criminal defense lawyer or something like that, okay? You're not gonna see personal injury, right? Because you do not have the pages for that, and you don't have optimization for that, right? Because again, that comes with the pages and the content. But at the same time, maybe you do criminal, and if you do not have a section for drug crimes, you are not gonna see keywords for drug crimes there, right? Because your website doesn't have that content, it's not optimized for that. So just keep in mind that this is related to what you have on your site. All right, here now you have pages, and again, this is just the list of pages on your website, and you'll see the metrics now organized based on the pages that you have, and then after that you'll find like you have countries, devices. So, and again, that's really what you see. You the countries, now you see the countries and you see the breakdown. Devices, you'll find like mobile device, desktop, tablet. So again, I'm not gonna go through each one of these tabs, but again, that's how the information is organized on this report. Okay. All right. So now I want to move on to the page experience report. Okay. So right here, this is the report. And I'm going to expand it so you can see it better. Okay. Okay, so to Google, it's very important the experience users have when they are, visiting websites, which is why it sort of incorporated this new section and some metrics to try to measure page experience. This particular report is going to be divided on two areas. The first one is core web vitals that you see on the left side, and you see within core web vitals, you see the mobile, you see desktop, and you just want to make sure that it's in the green for the most part. Not the end of the world. There are a few URLs that need improvement, but just for the most part, make sure that everything looks fine. And the part on the right is the HTTPS, and then again, that just making sure that your pages are served through a secure channel. So that's something that all websites should have. If you don't, make sure that your website provider sets it up for you. And as I said, these metrics are associated with aspects that impact the user experience of your site. Okay. Core Web Vitals. So Core Web Vitals are metrics that Google introduced to try to measure things like loading times, responsiveness, the stability of these pages or of your web pages when users open them on their end. And HTTPS is related to, again, as I said, making sure you are using a secure channel to serve your pages to your users. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the Core Web Vitals report right here. Okay. So the Core Web Vitals report, here you just need to make sure that everything, for the most part, is in the green. As I mentioned, not a big deal. There's a few that need some improvement. Something to keep in mind here too is that not every single URL might be listed, and that's because Google relies on user information, like information from users actually going to your pages, right? And not every page has a lot of traffic, right? So only the ones for which Google has enough information is what you're going to see in these reports. Okay. Now for you have mobile and desktop, but you want to focus on mobile because that is the one that Google is using for ranking purposes. So that's really, I mean, of course, you want a great user experience for both mobile and desktop, but for ranking purposes, mobile devices, the metrics on the mobile version is really what matters. Okay, here I just opened that I just zoom into that report. This is what you see. And then you can actually open this particular report and you get this view. If you see, it's pretty much the same information, just visualized in a different way. Now in this case, everything is green. Now we do use AMP for our clients' mobile website, and that helps in terms of these specific metrics. So that's something you can do on your end, for at least for your mobile website. Do so because it provides different benefits. All right. Now I do want to show you like an example with errors. So I was able to find this next one doing some Google searches. And this is how it looks. This is how it looks when you see errors, right? So it's the same screen that I showed you in the previous one. But now here you can see that some need improvement. Some were marked as poor at some point, and then they were fixed. And some others are in the green. And then in the part below, you'll find additional details on the actual problems that Google identified. Now, I think this is sort of quite technical, but if you find issues, just make sure that you talk to your web developer, to the website provider, to just discuss and see what needs to be done. As I said, if one is not, it needs improvement, sometimes there's a reason for that, right? Maybe there is this one page, and then you need to put this big image because it's an infographic and you want it displayed. And just because it's this big image, it just takes more time to load for the users. But again, that could be a reason for that, and it's not the end of the world. So just keep that in mind. Okay. And after the core web vitals, the second part, the other parts to the page experience section is the HTTPS. And as I said, just make sure it's in the green. If you have any in red, talk to your developers. At this point, no website should have or should lack that HTTPS component, that secure component. Okay, right here. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the enhancements report. And for enhancements report, see right here. Okay, and then for enhancements report, the first one is AMP. Again, this is if your website is using AMP, so make sure everything is fine. I mentioned some of the benefits. Again, it's just that when implemented properly, AMP can be great to provide like fast loading websites and responsive websites, and the websites that are stable when the users visit them. And part of that, or why AMP pages load really fast, is because Google preloads the AMP pages while the user is doing the search. Like for example, if a user goes to Google and the user does a search for creating a lawyer, and then they get the results, even before they click on a website, those websites that are ranking with AMP are already loading on the background. So, but by the time the user clicks on that particular website, the website loads, instantly. So again, that's a great user experience. It makes Google look good. It makes your website look good. So again, that's just something to keep in mind. If it's possible for you and your website provider can do it, set it up. If not, again, AMP is not a ranking factor, but Google does have this section that says AMP. So I think we can say that at least Google pays attention to that. Okay, so now let's go to the next one, which is breadcrumbs. After the AMP, you'll find reports for the different schema markup that you have on your website. So like we have the breadcrumbs, and here, if there's any problem, saying you'll see in red, you'll find at the bottom, you'll find what the problem is, and just bring it up with your website provider so he takes a look at it. You want to make sure that everything is in the green here, and then you'll find the different reports depending on the types of schema markup implemented on your website, right? So if you have breadcrumb, is going to be there. If you have like FAQs or reviews, again, it really depends on what you have on your site. So you'll find a different one. These FAQs, and this is the review snippets. They all show the same way.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on law practice and legal marketing. See you in our next clip.